ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Road Stories with Al Snow. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I hope that you enjoy our tales of wonder and woe from the road of professional wrestling. Let's begin with a little tale that I like to entitle Trigger. It's about a horse, a boy and his horse, really two men and their horses. And now I know you're thinking, it's about a trip to Tijuana or something. No, because that involves donkeys, and that's completely different than horses, trust me. Even though they do have certain videos on certain websites that I really can't bring up here that do involve horses doing certain things that we really don't want to discuss. Am I right, Dave Hero?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes. So we'll discuss a horse story, but not quite the one that you think. So let's begin with a trip to an independent wrestling show. And let me point out that some of the marvels and wonders of wrestling are why I stay involved in wrestling, because it gives me the opportunity to have such amazing stories that I get to tell that all are quite true. That's what's so awesome about this business, is that the most unlikely things that you can't think would happen anywhere else happen in the wrestling business. For instance, I travel to a southern state to perform on an independent wrestling show. I, of course, arrive awfully early because they have to fly me out at black 30 in the morning to ensure that I arrive there safely and as early as possible. Can't get into the hotel because, of course, the hotel rooms need to be cleaned, and they don't really clean them at 10 or 11 o'clock because people happen to like to sleep in most of the time when they're in a hotel room and therefore don't want to depart until they absolutely have to. So I'm not going to get into that hotel room until 3 o'clock, so I end up going to the building, and which turned out to be a beautiful National Guard armory. Keep in mind what kind of building it is. It's quite large, pretty spacious for a National Guard armory. They had lots of chairs out, and had a lot of commotion going on. The owner of the wrestling company, who was walking around in a black cowboy hat and some bit of chaw, and his nice black mullet that was clearly dyed and with all you'd have thought shoe polish. His arms almost trying to get a handlebar mustache, not a Fu Manchu mustache, but the Raleigh Fingers handlebar mustache. His stringy goatee approached me, about 5'6", maybe a bit of a drum hanging out, a belly, and said, "Excuse me there, Al, can we talk? We got a problem." Now, when you mention that we have a problem, the first thing that my mind goes to is I'm not getting paid. That's really the only problem that I'm concerned about. So I'm like, what kind of problem do we have? Well, come on over here. We need to talk for a minute. I'm like, well, okay. What seems to be the issue? Well, now, you know what, with you being a former WWE superstar, and, I don't want to offend you. And I'm like, well, you're not going to offend me as long as you're paying me. Because if you're not paying me, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to break your thumbs. And he's like, well, sir, this here tonight, the show, it's kind of like our WrestleMania. I didn't want to inform him that it's actually called WrestleMania, not WrestleMania, but hey, it's his show. I said, well, what's the problem? Well, I don't want to offend you being a former WWE superstar. I said, yeah, I understand. What seems to be the issue? Well, like I said, this here's our WrestleMania. I said, yes, I know, it's WrestleMania. What's the problem? Well, we got us a hell of a house tonight. We've sold the place out. That's awesome. I'm very happy for you. I'm sure that alleviates any possible issue that we might be having. Thinking again, this is about money. He goes, well, no, now. And again, I don't mean to offend. I said, I know, former WWE superstar. What is the problem? Well, me and the boy, my son, we's the tag team champions. Well, sir, I'm stunned. You own the company. I'm shocked that you would actually make yourself a champion of anything. I mean, that was strange. Not to mention the nepotism of having your own son involved, who looks just exactly like the father, maybe only 2 inches taller. As well, I don't know if you noticed, but me and the boy, we do a cowboy gimmick. Yeah, the fact that you had the hat on your head and were walking around with chaw in your mouth totally escaped me. What's the problem? Well, I don't want to offend. I said, there's no offense. As long as you're paying me, you're not going to offend me. Oh, no, money's there. We sold out. It's our WrestleMania. Of course. What's the problem? Well, me and the boy, we got a cowboy gimmick. Yes, I know. Well, we got a hell of an entrance plan. You do? What? Well, me and the boy, this being our WrestleMania, we was thinking we're going to ride horses to the ring. Now, the minute he said that they were going to ride animals to the ring, I wanted to scream with joy. I tried to keep myself as reserved as possible, and I was like, really? You're kidding? He goes, nope, I'm serious. This is our WrestleMania. I go, yeah, you got to go all out if it's WrestleMania. You got to ride, if you're going to ride a horse, this is the night you got to ride a horse, right? And, my experience with animals in a wrestling ring clearly didn't go well. And I always harken back to the story of Bill Dundee when he rode down a motorcycle into the Mid-South Coliseum. The spotlight hit him in the eye, and he hit the throttle on the gas, popped the wheelie, and took out 5 of the front row. So, and then when in Australia, I watched a guy ride out his buddy's motorcycle, kept revving the motorcycle, holding the clutch. And I'm like, do you think you should not put it in neutral? He's like, nah, mate, it'd be all right if I can't push it. I'll just pop the clutch a little bit and roll it. Well, okay. So he keeps rolls it up to the ringside area. As a guy hands him a beer, he's drinking the beer. Some kid reaches over the rail and starts just gunning the motorcycle. The guy realizes it, goes to reach for the kid with his left hand, lets go of the clutch. Motorcycle pops a wheelie, he falls off, it shoots in the wall. Awesome. So I'm thinking this can only be even better with 2 horses. I'm like, how are you going to ride horses to the ring? Looking at the rails that they have around the ring, it's almost too narrow. And he goes, well, me, I'm going to ride out and I'm going to go to the left, and my boy, he's going to ride out and he's going to go to the right. Now, I'm thinking this is great, because they're going to get those 2 horses down there facing each other. Now, how are they going to get them out? Because if you don't know anything about horses, don't mind that. There's some chick that Dave's got tied up in the back. Down with OPP. Oh, you know me. So, I know horses don't back up real well. I'm like, this is going to be hijinks and shenanigans for sure. So I'm like, oh man, put me on whenever you want to put me on. I don't care. You're not going to offend me. You're right. I can't outdo that. You're riding 2 horses. He goes, well, when you want to go on? I said, when you guys going on? He goes, we're going on 9. I've said, put me on right after intermission. Well, that'll be fine. We'll put you on 6th. The rest of the day, I'm like a kid at Christmas. I cannot wait for these horses to arrive. But there's nobody else there for me to share it with. So I just keep running up to the guy, and I'm like, hey, where are the horses? He's like, they's coming, they's a-coming. So I almost stooged myself off. Because at one point when the show started, I'm like, hey, brother, what's going on? Where are the horses? He's like, you awful interested in these horses? I said, because it's your WrestleMania. I mean, come on. I want to make sure that everything comes off. He goes, well, they'll be here, don't worry. I said, okay. So intermission happens, and in the back, they had a big overhead door, and I see the trailer pull up. And I'm like, oh my God, they're here. When I tell you I saw the 2 largest animals I've ever seen walk off the back of that trailer, these were enormous horses. I'm like, oh my, this is getting better and better. These things are gargantuan. I mean, they were tall. So they saddle them up, and I'm like, can't wait for intermission to get over. I get in that ring. I could not have hit that guy with the head quicker. I run right to the back. I don't take a shower. I set my chair down right by the curtain. I ain't moving. Match number 7. Get done. Get out of here. This is WrestleMania. We got horses. 8. Come on. Chop, chop. Speed it up, boys. Horses. Okay? So now, here comes here's the match. Okay? So, there's an upstairs where they dress. So here comes Dad downstairs, son right behind him, both dressed just alike. He got the black cowboy hat on, they've had on all day. Wetted down mullet, got the mustache, got a piece of chaw in the mouth. got the biggest, other than Dave Hero's heavyweight title, the biggest titles I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay? The black duster that is too long because it's made for a 6-foot man, not a 5'6" man. The black chaps, the wrestling cowboy boots, the black tights with the horseshoes airbrushed on them. He's got the butcher top singlet so that it allows for it to lift and separate his man boobs out. And I'm like, these guys look awesome. So I watch him get on the horse. Dad gets on the horse, and I watch the ass end of the horse kind of go. I'm like, wow, what a fat son of a bitch. He about broke the horse down. So I don't know if anybody out there's rode horses or not, but when you ride them and you take them off the dirt, those metal horseshoes, you have to take off because even on the pavement, it makes it slick. So apparently somebody did not get that memo. I myself wasn't aware of that at the time, and I'm just like, wow, he's a fat bastard, you know, breaking the horse down. And that's a big animal to break down. So the strains of Bon Jovi's Wanted Dead or Alive begin to play, and I see the dad pull his shoulders back, his man boobs go out further. He kind of bites down on his jaw, and he rides the horse up by me by the curtain. I'll never forget this. Pushes up his head a little bit, looks down at me, and he goes, "Watch this." I'm thinking to myself, listen, I'm already transfixed. I'm not going anywhere. You don't have to worry. I am going to watch every bit of this. Because again, I'm anticipating the fact that they can't get these two horses out of there. So all day I've been waiting for this. This is like a kid at Christmas.